Hi there, Edgar. It's nice to see more essays from you. Good job. It's important to keep working on essays for your IELTS preparation. So let's get into your essay and see what you have written. Nowadays, most green energy is becoming ever more prevalent in both developed and developing countries. Some argue they greatly reduce costs and are better for the environment. Others believe they are a serious threat to energy security. Okay. The issue of the environmental benefits of green energy and its reduced costs have increased in importance over the last 30 years. Even if security considerations have to be taken, I firmly believe that a responsible use of these energies could overcome any threat. This essay will discuss both issues using examples to demonstrate points and support arguments. Okay, lovely. Very nice. The only thing I might change is here. We don't say a use. We just say responsible use. Okay. All right, so moving right along. Firstly, alternative energy contributes to a clean environment with reduced costs. This is largely because combustion of materials is not required to produce it, and the investment is less than the one in a regular power plant. Okay, it's fine. There is a more elegant way of saying this. You could say instead, and the investment is less than that of a regular power plant, and it sounds more advanced, and it's just more appropriate here. For example, recent World Energy Organization studies show that the cost of building a plant based on solar cells is almost 80% below the cost of a plant based on water. Therefore, using either air or sun heat to create power had more beneficial outcomes for the environment with a considerably smaller investment. Okay, fine, there's really nothing wrong with it. The only thing I would ask you to do is be consistent with your tense, because here you say show, is, etc. And then all of a sudden you say had more beneficial. So I think it's more appropriate for you to say has more beneficial outcomes, just to be consistent with your tense. But it's, it's a small little thing. Okay. Secondly, notwithstanding of, I don't think you need the all here. I don't think you need the of here. So secondly, notwithstanding all the benefits these resources bring, its use should not be neglected. This is due to the fact that it is a relatively new energy source, and extensive research should be taken to ensure the security of its production. For instance, recent Harvard University studies shows, well, this should be show here because you're referring to multiple studies, right? Okay. So, show that solar cells could release intensive heat harmfully for humans if the cells are overheated. Overheated should probably be one word here, Edgar. Thus, a better understanding of these energies' behavior. Here you'd want to make it apostrophe, okay, because it's the behavior belonging to the energy, is needed to secure their production. So, okay, the only real issue here is your first sentence. Its use should not be neglected. I don't think you mean its use. I think you mean its dangers, or its possible side effects, or its possible ramifications. That's another great word. So, try to find a different word. Use doesn't really quite fit what you're trying to say here, based on the rest of your paragraph and how you developed it. All right, and so for your conclusion, to conclude, although green energy contributes to preserving, now check this out, contributes to, they kind of go hand in hand, and so to here is acting like a preposition, which means that the verb that needs to follow it is not a full infinitive, but it's actually a gerund, because after prepositions we always put gerunds, INGs. So this should read, to conclude, although green energy contributes to preserving a clean habitat with savings in infrastructure, it should be taken into account its recent adoption. Okay, this needs to be rephrased. It should be, its recent adoption should be taken into account. It is predicted that by the year 2090, all the power could be produced with alternative resources. All right, nice job, Edgar. Just a couple little minor things, as you could see. The structure was nice. The vocabulary was very good. You answered the questions, so well done. Just a couple of those little grammatical things that I'm sure you can easily iron out. So let's go to your second essay. Okay, and here it is. It's the waste hauling trips. Oh, so nice for you to include it here on your file. Makes it very convenient. Okay, so let's see. The bar chart shows the number of trips that two types of waste hauling trucks, hauler A and hauler B, took from July to September 2014. Great. According to the chart, hauler A increased the number of trips in almost a 20% from July to August, then dropped the trips on September from nearly 120 trips to 83 trips approximately. Hauler B increased the trips in 2/3 from July to August and dropped them at 50% for September. Okay, so here there's some different stuff going on. Let's take a look at it again. So let me basically just correct some of the errors. Hauler A increased its number of trips by almost 20% from July to August. Okay, that's fine, but you never really told me where the trip started out at. I mean, when you're doing a chart like this, it's usually very helpful to know what those initial numbers are. So I would have started by saying here that hauler A's trips were at 100. Okay, and then you can say that they rose to like 115 or so. So it should be something like that. Hauler A increased its number of trips by almost 20% from 100 trips in July to 115 or so in August, and then not dropped the trips, but actually reduced the trips from nearly 120. Oh, there it is. Okay, so to 83 trips approximately. Okay, fine. Hauler B increased the trips in 2/3 from July to August, then dropped them again at 50% for September. Okay, so again, I mean, you're talking about these increases, but you're not really telling me what the numbers are. So it doesn't give me like a reference point for how hauler A compares to hauler B, or you know what this means in terms of trips. So you really need to also add some data, especially those beginning and ending numbers are really important because they're a vital part of the story. Okay. Because really these task ones do tell a story, and so it's important to know what that beginning and end is. Well, beginning and end are. So, okay. So this should actually say right here, hauler B increased its trips by 2/3 from 90 in July to 150 in August, and then had a 50% decrease, or a 50% decline, or you could even say a 50% drop in September. Okay. Hauler A had approximately 15 trips more than hauler B in July. By August, hauler B's apostrophe S here, trips were roughly 40% above those of hauler A. I like this grammar here. Then, by September, both haulers had the same difference in numbers of trips than the month before. Okay, this is a little confusing. Okay, this whole little section here, with 183 trips respectively. Okay, overall hauler B trends, oh, you mean tends to have more trips than hauler B in the months of August and September, except for the month of July, in which hauler B had more. Okay, I wouldn't have said tens here because it's something that happened in the past. It's something that happened in the summer in 2014. So even though I think you meant tens here and not trends, I would have just used something that showed that this was something that happened in the past. Okay, so Edgar, you've got some really nice things happening in both these essays, some really positive features, some good grammar, some good organization. I have to say that I wasn't really thrilled with the way you organized this. Basically, you talked about how they individually increased, and then in your second paragraph, you compared them to each other. I would have done that somehow together. So this just felt a little strange. But on the whole, your essay, your task 2 was very nice. And this, like I said, did have some nice elements. There were some problems with your syntax and with your organization. I think there was a clearer way to do this. Remember, you're basically telling a story here. Okay? So keep that in mind when you're writing a task one like this. So good work overall. Keep on writing. I hope to see more of your essays. I understand that you're at the end of your essay pack, but you know, continuing to get feedback is super important as you prepare for IELTS, you know, even up to the day of your test, because it can really just help you more and more to get feedback and, you know, professional assistance from a tutor. So I hope to see more of your essays, Edgar. Whatever you decide, good luck with everything, and you know, just keep on writing.